got it. Chips it towards the back post. There's goal! Carly Lloyd has finished it off. Magnificent from the USA. Into the penalty area. Tanaka, what a save by Hope Solo. It's all over. What a magnificent effort by the entire squad.
Well, thanks everyone. We're going to get going with our second video conference. It was fantastic to have our friends from LA 2024 here, and now I'm very pleased to introduce Carly Lloyd and Alex Morgan. They're currently in Boca Raton. They actually just qualified for the 2016 Olympic Games at the 2016 CONCACAF Women's Olympic Qualifying Championships. It was in Dallas and Houston, February 10th to the 21st. Team USA defeated Trinidad and Tobago in the semifinals 5-0 to qualify, and then they went on to beat Canada 2-0 for the regional title. They're currently competing in the She Believes Cup, where they beat England and France 1-0, and they'll be taking on Germany tomorrow. So ladies, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
We will shortly open it up for some questions. As with our previous video conference, if you could please wait for a microphone. The ladies can only hear us when we're speaking through the microphone. But if we could get started. Alex, you just scored the game winner recently against France. Tell us a little bit about the momentum after two really exciting wins after qualifying, just the tournament prior, and how the team's coming together now that your mindset has changed with those Olympics in sight.
Well, having the Olympic qualifying tournament last month and doing well through that tournament, we felt like we had a little bit of momentum in our favor. And going into the She Believes tournament, we had some great competition. Obviously, four out of the top 5 teams in the world competing in a domestic tournament, which was great training for us. Looking forward into the Olympics, and now that we are qualified, obviously our head coach Jill is looking to see what kind of roster she's going to bring for the Olympics. So for us, it's important for us to just showcase ourselves every single game and try to make a case for us to be on that roster going to the Olympics. So having played France and England and winning 1-0, I think that we performed well, but there's always a little bit higher fitness that we can continue to get. There's always a little bit, better of play that we can continue to elevate ourselves with. So it was a good base, but tomorrow we're looking forward to playing against Germany, and we both have 2 wins in this tournament, in this mini tournament. So it's exciting to be able to kind of play in a championship game and a game that is a friendly, but at the same time still matters to us and certainly Germany as well.
Absolutely, thank you. And Carly, the team's going through a little bit of an evolution right now with a lot of new, young, fresh faces. Tell us a little bit about the connection with the players and how really the identity of the team is changing.
Yeah, I think obviously we had some pretty important there, and some of the veteran players no longer with us right now, and that happens. There's a turnover right now, transition period. There's a lot of new faces, a lot of younger faces, but there's also veterans that are still around, like myself and Hope and Becky and even Ali Krieger. And it's important for us to continue to help lead the team, to continue to help some of the younger players who have never been at an Olympics before. But I think overall, we're taking strides each and every day. At the same time, we don't want to be peaking at this very moment. There are some growing pains, there are some transition phases, but we're continuing to get better, and some players are really doing well, which is great. And at the end of the day, once the roster's selected, we want to be peaking when we get to Rio. That's the end goal for us.
Good deal. Okay, we will open it up to questions from the media. If you can, please state your name and your outlet.
Since nobody else is stepping up, I'll ask a locals question. Could both of you comment on Mallory Pugh, what you've seen of her in training camps and such, and when do you see her becoming a major part of your team?
This is John Meyer from the Denver Post.
I mean, I think Mal has done an exceptional job of making the transition. I know that she's been, a key asset player to some of the youth national teams. The next question was, can she do it at this level? And I think she's proven that. She's a young player that just goes out there, plays freely, looks like she's having fun, creating things. Obviously set up Alex's great goal the other night. Really doing well. I think the true test is obviously competing against some of these top teams, which she's proven as well. And I think she's definitely going to be a key factor in our success.
And going off of what Carly said, usually a good adjustment period is a year, maybe two, to break into this team, break into a starting lineup, or to get quality time on the playing field. And Mal has been able to do that in only a couple of months, given her first training camp with the team was December, January. So with that, thinking about that, she's done really well and able to jump from the youth national team to the senior national team, and played a 90-minute game the other day. So that's important for us to be able to see, and for her to do well under pressure and do well in these situations against quality teams. That helps her looking forward to the Olympics for sure.
Thank you. Next question.
Brandon Penny with TeamUSA.org. This question's for Carly. You've become sort of a clutch player for the U.S. in the final games of these major tournaments. Is that something that you ever think about going into these competitions, and do you feel any pressure to sort of deliver for the team?
No, not at all. I mean, I think, from an individual standpoint, I hold high expectations of myself. I always want to continue to improve, continue to get better, continue to help the team in any way possible. It's not just these final games that I like to do well in. It's obviously all games leading up, but there is something about a final or something that just sits with me a little bit differently. It's a time to really get after it. I embrace those moments, those challenges, and I think right now it's just continuing to improve and get better, get fitter, stronger, faster, so that come Rio time, be good to go. But no pressure. Just want to go for another gold and do anything possible to help the team.
Christian Schembeckler, BSU at the Games. Either one of you can feel free to chime in on this one. How has preparation for Rio been different under head coach Jill Ellis than it was under Pia for London?
Well, I think with Jill, we, at least last year, gearing up for the World Cup, we were together a lot, and she had narrowed down the team pretty early, which was different than with Pia the cycle before. And now gearing up for Rio, I'm not sure if that's going to be the same or if she's going to name the roster more at a later time, but we've started a little bit earlier with our fitness. We started climbing that peak a little bit earlier than I think last time around, but at the same time, you kind of know what you expect. You know what to expect with any coach, just in terms of having two major tournaments in back-to-back years, and the fact that you need to get a little bit of a break, but at the same time, you don't want too much of a break because there's important work to get done. And so it's important for us to stay mentally in it, and I think it's a little bit of Jill's job as well, is to make sure we're getting a little bit of a mental break, but also still continuing to have our eyes always on Rio.
Great. Next question.
Hi, Lisa Costantini with TeamUSA.org. What advice do you have for future medalists that you wish someone would have given you?
I would say you've got got to embrace the journey. I think that's a key factor in any major tournament. No tournament is ever the same, and I've learned that throughout the course of my career. They're going to start and they're going to finish differently. And if you don't embrace the journey, and if you don't really just kind of tackle what's coming your way at that particular moment, it can really kind of weigh on you, weigh on your confidence. But you have to embrace it. You have to embrace the fact that throughout the year there will be struggles at some times. But knowing, you put in all the work, this sacrifice, dedication.
Apologies, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, so we'll cut you off there, and hope that if we give it a few seconds here.
And then once you get to those games, you really just have to go out there and perform, and not overthink it, and not worry too much about.
Apologies, we lost the middle part. Did you get enough of that answer? Give us just a few minutes here. We'll see if we can get them back on the screen.
Oh, we're good to go?
Okay, we're back up. We
Sorry.
lost a bit of that answer. And do you
Okay.
need it? Would you like to hear it again? Are you good? Alex, do you want to pipe in on that same question?
Well, I completely agree. I mean, I think embracing the journey is something that's really important, especially for the Olympics, something that people look forward to their entire lives. I mean, I know that I've been looking forward to going to the Olympics since I was 5 years old, and then you get there like when I did in London, and it's so different than what you expected, but you have to go with it. You just have to go with the ups and downs and the roller coaster emotionally and physically that is thrown at you. But I'd also say, like Carly said as well, is you can only control certain things, your attitude, your preparation going into the tournament. There's a lot of things you cannot control, and outside things that you just need to be prepared for. You need to prepare for almost things that you can't even expect to go right or wrong. But it's it's the most fun adventure to be surrounded by so many Olympians that took their own paths to get to where you are, and to be a part of the small community to compete for their nation, and that's something special. So embracing the journey is probably as cliche as it is, it's probably the biggest thing that I had to tell myself over and over every day.
Hi, you guys. This is Ann Killian with the San Francisco Chronicle. I have two questions. One is, you proved once again last summer that you're arguably America's favorite team, yet you had a great game the other night and it wasn't on television. And you have a game against Germany that is not going to be on broadcast television. And I'm wondering, one, is that frustrating for you? Don't you think maybe you should... All your opportunities should be shown to the American public? And the other question I have is, you had a very tense situation last month with the lawsuit with U.S. Soccer, and I'm just wondering how that is how that's impacting your preparation going forward, that you have this kind of tense situation.
Hey, Ann. Well, we obviously, of course, would want every game televised. we're told by U.S. Soccer that they put this tournament together rather quickly. So they're, as far as sponsorships and as far as TV coverage, they could only lock in the first game. And, it was disappointing, but we've had good crowds at the game. And we also know that next year we will have this tournament again. And I think that the games will be televised. There will be sponsorships. So there is a precedent being set, and I think we're collectively working to get that done. As far as the lawsuit, it happened. It was what it was. We really haven't discussed much of it at all as a team, if not really anything. We're just pretty much focusing on this tournament. We are focusing on qualifying, and all the rest of that lawsuit and CBA stuff will work itself out. But in the meantime, we just have to prepare on getting ready for Rio and worrying about that on the field.
Hey, how's it going, ladies? This is McCall Hall with LA Talk Live, and I just had a question about International Women's Day. We're celebrating today. Question for you guys: what would you like to see in the world of women's soccer to really highlight and celebrate and really show some improvement in honor of International Women's Day? What would you guys like to see, especially as women's soccer players?
I mean, I'd like to see, with the FIFA Reform Committee, more women in higher positions at FIFA. I'd like to see more funding for the women's side of federations globally. You could see the gap is closing between the top 5 teams and 10th, 20th team ranked with FIFA rankings, but I still think that there needs to be more efforts towards the women's side and more expenses for those women's programs. But I think that it definitely, if with FIFA support, I think that it becomes easier and more accepting for different cultures globally.
Thanks. We have just a few remaining minutes. One question I'll jump in with, ladies. I think we have an exciting year ahead of us with the convergence of both the rise of the level of competition of the women's game globally, as well as the Olympics heading to a country that is truly passionate about soccer in all aspects. Talk a little bit about the opportunity that lies ahead.
Well, I think it's going to be great. I know, London did a fantastic job with the Olympics, and I know for our team, being able to play in some of those amazing soccer stadiums, some historic stadiums, was unbelievable. And I know, Rio is going to be the same. We're not sure where we're going to be placed yet, but I'm sure that we'll be, all over the place, enjoying it, embracing it. I think they're going to do a fantastic job. They embrace the sport. Brazil women are incredible players, incredible team. So it's going to be really tough. And, we're obviously seeing the gap close between teams, and 12 teams fighting for an Olympic gold is going to be a tough one this summer.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us, ladies. Best of luck tomorrow, and we're happy to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On toward Rio. Well, thanks, everyone. With that, we are on to lunch. We will be back at 12:45, just an hour from now, with a press conference with U.S. Paralympics. Thank you.